Every human being on the earth needs food to survive, just like every other species on the planet. It's a basic biological fact, and whenever there is a disruption in the food supply for any species, the consequences can be severe, including potential loss of life. This is why the United States could soon face a significant threat, a looming food shortage, and one that may be directly tied to Donald Trump's immigration policies. At the heart of this issue is the agricultural cycle. We are entering harvest season, the time of the year when crops that were planted in the spring are ready to be collected and sent to the market. But this year, there is a serious complication. Most American farms depend on H-2 visa program, which allows seasonal agricultural workers, 90% of whom come from Mexico, to temporarily enter the US and work in the fields. However, under the current political climate, particularly with Trump's administration hardline stance on immigration, this process is now uncertain. Farmers are unsure whether they'll be able to bring in enough workers, if any at all, and they're panicking. Most of these farmers are supported by Trump, but now they're facing the consequences of his restrictive immigration stance. They are openly stated that local workers simply aren't enough to meet the labor demands, even if every one of them sign up for farm work, which they won't, obviously. The uncertainty comes from the administration's lack of clear H-2 visa policy. Without the clarity, farms can't plan for labor they'll need. Even worse, many returning migrant workers are hesitant to come back to the US, even legally, because they fear being detained by the ICE. Despite having valid documentation, the fear is making the labor shortage even more acute. According to a recent report from The Guardian, this isn't a theoretical problem, it's already unfolding. Adding to the concern is the role of Jonathan Barry, nominated as a solicitor for the Department of Labor. Barry helped write the labor section of Project 2025, a right-wing policy blueprint for explicitly calls for phasing out the H-2 visa program. Instead, it proposes replacing migrant labor with automation and domestic workers. But that's non-starter for many farmers who insist there simply aren't enough Americans willing to take on these roles. I mean, this is literally crazy. So what happens next? If farmers can't harvest the crops, the food never makes it to the stores, and if food doesn't reach the market, prices rise, supply chains break down, the United States could find itself dealing with man-made food crisis caused by immigration policy choices and political ideology rather than natural disaster. We are standing at the edge of a preventable crisis, and the warning signs are flashing. If changes aren't made soon, the nation may face consequences in the form of empty shelves, rising hunger, all thanks to a political agenda that ignores the realities of how our food system truly works.